Hi everybody, this is Crystal. So today I'm going to show you how to make this granny square here. This 3D flower granny square with some leaves on it. It's approximately 7 inches across. Of course, you can make it a little smaller by stopping at one row. You can make it larger as big as you want just by continuing this round here, the white rounds. You can use this for blankets or bags, or lots of people, granny squares have many uses. So it's actually it's probably an intermediate pattern. I would suggest you be intermediate, because you got to do double crochet together and triple crochet togethers and picots and stuff like that, popcorn stitches right here. So definitely intermediate pattern, but beginners are always welcome to try, as long as you know the basic stitches, and hopefully my teaching will help you along. But let's go ahead and get started on this. Okay, for this project I just used some Caron Simply Soft that I had, that skeins that have already been used. You can use any type of yarn that you want, scrap yarn if you want to make, or if you want to make a bag or something out of it, you know, whatever colors you want. But for the square, it doesn't take much of any. So for the yellow, the color I used, this is Caron Simply Soft color Sunshine. You're not going to need much, maybe 10 yards of it. That's just a guess. For the pink, this is Caron Simply Soft. Soft pink is the color, not much of it, maybe 20 yards, probably not even that much. But and then for the leaves, I use Caron Simply Soft. Color is Pistachio, again, maybe 20 yards, if that. And then the white around it is Caron Simply Soft in the color white, and probably the most of that, maybe 30 yards at the most. Those are probably over exaggerating, but I was just to make sure. And then I'm going to be using a size J, which is a 6mm crochet hook. Okay, and as always, I just want to take a second to ask you not to forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit that little bell so you get notifications every time I put a video on. And also, if you like this video, you like this granny square, if you could give me a thumbs up, that would be awesome. So we're going to go ahead and start with a slip knot on our hook. Now we're going to work a chain of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to go back in to the first stitch, slip stitch to form a ring. Now we're going to chain 1. Now that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. Now we're going to work a popcorn stitch. So what we're going to do is we're going to work 5 double crochets through the center of the ring. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's 5. Now we're going to pull up the loop and remove our hook. Now we're going to go back into our first double crochet from the front, like that. Go back into that loop. Now pull it through that first double crochet there, like that. Pull it kind of tight. And now I'm going to work a chain of 3. 1, 2, 3. And that is your first popcorn. We're going to work 8 of those. So it's going to get pretty tight. So we're going to go ahead and work 5 double crochet again through the center of the ring. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Go ahead and pull up your loop. Now we're going to go back through the first double crochet of this set of 5 through the front of it, like that. Grab that loop and go ahead and pull it through like that. pull it tight, and chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and there's your second popcorn. I'm going to slide it over, and I'm going to do another one. So I'm going to work 5 double crochet through the ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Again, just kind of pull your loop up so you don't lose it. Pull your hook out, go through the very first double crochet of this group of 5. Grab that loop again, put it on your hook, and then pull it through that first double crochet like that. Pull it tight, and chain 3. And there's your third popcorn. Pull it over. Now I'm going to keep repeating that until I get 8 of these little popcorn stitches made, and they should have chain 3s in between them all. I'll do it one more time. 5 double crochets through the ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull your loop up, go through the first double crochet, grab that loop, pull it through, pull it tight, and chain 3, and then start again. Make sure you slide it over. You got to keep kind of sliding it over. So there's 4. I'm going to do it until I have a total of 8 popcorn stitches. Alright, I'm coming to the end of round 1, and I got my 8 popcorn stitches, and I'm going to go ahead and do my chain 3 after my last one. Now I'm going to end round 1 by slip stitching into the first double crochet of the first popcorn, like that. And I'm going to tie this color off, and I'm going to start with a new color. So at the end of round 1, you'll have your 8 popcorn stitches, and then you'll have 8 of these chain 3 spaces. Now you can pull that tail to close that center circle up, and then we can sew it together the rest of the way at the end. Okay, so now I'm going to start with my flower color, whatever color you want to use for your petals of your flower. And we are going to start it in any one of these chain spaces. You can go ahead and start your yarn. And we're going to work a petal in each one of these chain spaces. So we'll go ahead and I'll show you how we're going to work the petal. Okay. We are going to chain 1. Okay, I'm going to go back into the chain space, and I am going to work a single crochet, a half double crochet, 2 double crochets. Now I'm going to work a picot stitch, so I'm going to chain 3, and then I'm going to slip stitch back into the top of this double crochet. Now some people like to go right into the top of it. I go kind of down the side of it like that and grab those 2 loops. I think it holds better. Then we slip stitch, and that puts a little ball there, or a little point there at the top. Now I'm working in the same space. I'm going to work another double crochet, a half double crochet, and a single crochet. So that is how I'm going to work the petal. Now I'm going to slip stitch into my next chain space. So I'm just going to go right over here and slip stitch. And then I'm going to work my petal again. So I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to work a single crochet, 1 half double crochet, 2 double crochets. There's 1, there's 2. Then I'm going to do a picot now, so I'm going to chain 3. I'm going to go back down and I'm going to slip stitch right here, kind of in the side of that same double crochet, and that's going to create that little point. Working in the same space, I'm going to work another double crochet, a half double crochet, and then a single crochet. And now you have petal number 2. And that is what I'm gonna work in each one of these chain spaces all the way around. So I'm going to slip stitch right into the next chain space, chain 1, and start again. Single crochet, half double crochet, 2 doubles, a picot, so chain 3, go right back down and slip stitch right there onto the side like that. That creates the picot. Now I'm going to work 1 double in the same space, a half double, and a single. And that is our 3rd petal. So I'm just going to keep repeating this all the way around until I get back to my starting point. So again, into my next slip stitch into my next chain space, chain 1, and make my next petal. Then I slip stitch into my next chain space, chain 1, and make my next petal. And I'm going to keep going until I get right back here to where I started. Alright, I have made it to the end of round 2, and you should have 8 petals now. Now we're going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into our first single crochet of our first petal. I'm going to clip this yarn off because I'm going to start on my leaves now. I like to tie off after my color changes. I'm not really good at color changing. It looks kind of funny if I don't tie off, but if you're normally used to just slip stitching a new color in, you can do that too. That's fine. Okay. So that's what we got so far. So now we're going to start round 3. So whatever color you want to use for your leaves. Okay, we want to start in any one of these. If you look in between the petals, that chain 1 that we made, it's usually right on top of the popcorn. If you see it, it's right there, the little spot. It's really tight, but you can see it in between every petal. See it right there? And it doesn't have to be exactly in that spot, but if you can get it kind of near, it's the chain 1 that we made. So you can start any one of those that you want. And now we're going to start off by working a loose chain of 3. Now we're going to stretch our chain over, and we're going to slip stitch into the next chain 1 space. So it's kind of right on top here. Or the best you can. Get it the best you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then loosely chain 3. Carry it over. The next chain 1 space. Loosely chain 3. And again, the next chain 1 space. Go right into it and slip stitch, and loosely chain 3, go to your next chain, or your next chain one space in between the petals, and slip stitch. We're going to do this all the way around. Loosely chain 3, and then the next one. I'll just keep going because I'm almost at the end. Just make sure your chain's pretty loose and not extremely tight. You're not going to see it anyway, so go to the next one. Look around for it. Remember, it doesn't have to be exactly in that chain one, but just get it the best that you can, close to it. Chain 3. Chain 3. And then go ahead and end by slip stitching into the same chain space that you started in. Pull up, but don't tie off. Now that'll be the end of round 3, and you should have 8 of these chain spaces. Go ahead and pull them behind the petals now. There we go. So now the chain spaces are behind our petals, and we can fiddle with it later to make our petals work right. But now we're just going to start where we left off, and we're going to start working some leaves. So you can push your petals forward to see, because we're going to be working in these chain spaces. So this will be round 4 now that we're working on. So what we're going to do is just slip stitch right over to the first chain 3 space, and then we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to go back into that same space and single crochet, and then we're going to work a chain of 3 again. So there's 3. Now the next space we're going to put a set of leaves. Okay, we're going to double crochet 3 together into this chain space. So we're going to yarn over, go into the chain space, draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on our hook. We want to do that 3 times. So that was number 1. Again, we're going to yarn over, go into the chain space, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. That's 2 times. One more time. Yarn over, go into the same chain space, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2 loops. And now you'll have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, and go through all 4 loops, just like that. Now we're going to do a chain of 3 again. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to do a triple crochet 3 together in the same chain space. So this time we're going to yarn over twice for a triple crochet, go into the same chain space, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops, yarn over, go through the next 2 loops, and we want to do that 3 times. So that counts as our first one. So again, we're going to yarn over twice, go into the same chain space, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, go through the next 2 loops on your hook. So that's 2 times we did that. We're going to do it one more time. Yarn over 2 times, go into the same space and draw up a loop. Yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, go through the next 2 loops on your hook. You'll have 4 loops that remain. Yarn over, go through all 4 loops. So that was triple crochet 3 together. Now we're going to chain 3. Working in the same space, again, we're going to do a double crochet 3 together. What we did down here, we're going to do it again in the same space. So go ahead and slide these leaves over. So we're going to yarn over once, go into the same space, draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on our hook. Do that 3 times, and that was 1. Yarn over, go into the same space, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2 loops on our hook. That's 2 times. One more time. Yarn over, go into the same space, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2 loops on our hook, and then yarn over and go through all 3. So that is a set of leaves that we just did, and we worked them all in that 1 chain 3 space. So now we're going to chain 3, and we are going to put 1 single crochet into the next chain 3 space, and then we're going to chain 3, and into the next chain 3 space we're going to work our set of 3 leaves again. So all into the same chain space we're going to do this again. So we're going to first off work a double crochet 3 together. That was 3. I have 4 loops that remain. Yarn over and go through all 4. Now we're going to chain 3. Go ahead and slide that over because we're still working in the same chain 3 space. We're going to do a triple crochet 3 together. There's 3 of them. You'll have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over, go through all 4. Now we're going to chain 3, and in the same space we're going to work a double crochet 3 together again. That's 3, 4 loops. Now you got your set of leaves again. So we're going to chain 3, and we are going to single crochet into the next chain 3 space, and then we're going to chain 3 and do our set of leaves into the next chain space, and that's what we're going to repeat all the way around. So I'll do my set of leaves here just like we did here, and then you chain 3 and single crochet into the next, then you chain 3 and do another set of leaves again, and then you chain 3 and you'll be back at the beginning. So you're going to have 4 sets of these leaves, and that's actually the corners of our squares. So go ahead and just repeat this pattern until we get back around to the beginning. Alright, I have made it to the end of round 4, and I just did my last set of leaves and I chained 3. Now I'm going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into my first single crochet here that we made at the very beginning. And I'm going to go ahead and tie my green off so I can start with a new color. So we can go ahead at the end of round 4 now. You should have 4 sets of these leaves. Like that. So what it's starting to kind of look like. Alright, now you want to take whatever color, this would be the main part of your square. I'm just going to use white for mine, but you choose any color that you wish. Now where we're going to start is in the top of any one, this is round 5, any one of these triple crochet 3 togethers right in the top of it. So like right there. Start right in the top of it. Start your yarn. Chain 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work a corner of my square. I'm going to work 2 double crochets in that same spot, a chain of 2, and then 2 more double crochets in the same spot, and that'll work the first corner of my square. Now I'm going to jump to this next chain 3 space, and I'm going to work 3 double crochets right through the space. And then I'm going to jump to the next chain 3 space, and I'm going to work 3 double crochets right through the space. Again, the next chain 3 space, 3 double crochets right through the space. Like that. And there'll be 1 more chain 3 space here, 3 double crochets right through the space. And now we're going to be at our triple crochet 3 together again, and that's where we're going to form our next corner. So we're going to work right into the top of it, right there, like that. And we're going to go ahead and work 2 double crochets, a chain of 2, and 2 more double crochets into the same spot, like that. And you can see we have 2 corners formed now, and we're just going to kind of repeat this all the way around. So we're going to work 3 double crochets in each of these 4 chain 3 spaces until we get to our next triple crochet 3 together, and right there is where we'll put our corner. So just go ahead and work 3 doubles into each of the chain 3 spaces until you get to your next triple crochet 3 together. So there should be 4 chain spaces. And now I'm right at the triple crochet 3 together. See it right there? You can pull it apart and see it. You're right next to it. Go ahead and put your corner right in there. We work 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets into that same spot. We have our 3rd corner formed. Now we're just going to repeat this same pattern all the way around until we get back to our starting point. All right, I'm coming to the end of round 5, and you should have a total of 64 stitches now. So now I'm going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into my first double crochet. Now you can quit if you want a smaller granny square. I'm going to go ahead and continue with round 6 and make my granny a little bit bigger. So what I'm going to do is chain 1, and then I'm going to go right back into that same stitch and double crochet, and then I'm going to double crochet into the next stitch, and then my next spot is going to be my chain 2 space. So what I'm going to do in my chain 2 space is the same thing that I'm going to do in all my chain 2 spaces. I'm going to work 2 double crochets, a chain 2, and then go back into the same spot and work 2 more double crochets, just like that. And now I'm going to just work across, putting 1 double crochet in every stitch until I get to my next chain 2 space. But sometimes this stitch hides. You got to make sure you get that first stitch, otherwise your square will look a little wonky. So in order to keep it straight, make sure you always get this first stitch, and go ahead and double crochet into it. And then work 1 double crochet in every stitch across until you get to your next chain 2 space. Alright, I'm almost there. Now when you get to your next chain 2 space, you're going to do the same thing that we just did in the last chain 2 space. We're going to go right into it and work 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more doubles. Now I'm just going to repeat what we've been doing all the way around. Just always remember to get that first stitch, because sometimes he does try to hide. Now I'm just going to keep doing what we've been doing. 1 double crochet in every stitch, and then we're going to work 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles in each of the chain 2 spaces, all the way around until we get back to our starting point. Alright, I'm coming to the end of round 6, and you should have a total of 80 stitches now. And go ahead and end by slip stitching into your first double crochet. Now you can keep going around in the same manner as I just did for as big as you want your square. You can switch colors, whatever you want to do. I'm going to stop here and I'm going to clip my yarn, but I'm going to do one more finishing edge on mine. So I'm going to go ahead and tie this off. Now I'm going to go back to my pink, and I'm just going to edge my granny square in a single crochet round. So this will be round 7. So you can start in any one of these chain 2 spaces. And what we're going to do is pretty much the same thing that we just did, but we're going to do it with single crochet instead of double. So we're going to chain 1. So we're going to go into this same space, and we're going to work 2 single crochets, a chain 2, and 2 more single crochets. And that's what we're going to work in every corner. Again, we're going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch across. Don't forget this first stitch here. I'm going to work 1 single in every stitch until I get to my next chain 2 space. So like I said, we're basically doing the same thing we did on the previous round, except for we're just doing it with single crochet instead of the double. And this is something you don't even necessarily have to do. I just like to edge my granny squares like this. Okay, when you get to your next chain 2 space, you just work your 2 singles, chain 2, and 2 more singles. So I'm just going to repeat this pattern all the way around until I get back to my starting point. Alrighty, I'm coming to the end of round 7. You should have a total of 96 stitches now. And I'm going to go ahead and end with a slip stitch into my first single crochet. Not the chain 1, but the first single. And then I'm going to tie this off. And now I'm going to hide any remaining tails that I have. And then I'm finished. that is it. That's all there is to it. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial, my little popcorn flower granny square. I hope that you were able to follow along okay. Remember, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click that bell if you haven't already. That way you don't miss any of the content that I put on, tutorials, and I like to talk about yarn a lot and take people yarn shopping. I have lots of giveaways, so lots of stuff to do. If you look on the right hand side of the screen right now, I'll put a playlist up of all my other granny squares. I got a lot of pretty flower granny squares. If you're into making those, you could check those out too. And thanks for watching. Until next time, have a good day.